Hey YouTube, Rico Knows here. I'm excited to talk about this. Shout out to DeShaun Foster getting hired as the UCLA head coach. This is a big deal. If you're a casual fan, you know DeShaun Foster from the NFL. Fine, more power to you. You know him from the Panthers, stuff like that. If you're a diehard UCLA fan, you're excited for what he brings to the table. But for me, this is near and dear to my heart. Just about a week ago, I did a very in-depth post on DeShaun Foster. He was moving on to the Raiders to be the running backs coach. And I talked about how these great coaches were leaving college football, going to the NFL, because the opportunities there were just better. Yet he finally gets an opportunity to be a head coach, and this is amazing. I love DeShaun Foster for what he is and what he represents. I told everybody a story about how when I was in high school, we used to watch DeShaun Foster. Now, we played at the same time. I was in the Southern section. I played in Division 7. Shout out to La Quinta High School. But in Division 5, and the lower is the bigger school, it didn't matter. We had elite teams at every division. In Division 5, you had the Tustin Tillers. They were undefeated, and they played Santa Margarita for the CIF championship. This is one of those games that goes down in the history, of all time great high school football games. And I believe the final score was 55-42. And Santa Margarita, the Eagles, their quarterback, Carson Palmer, threw for a career-high 400-something yards, 5 touchdowns. His number one receiver was John Minardi. He played at Colorado. He ended up having 21 tackles that game. But DeShaun Foster was no slouch. Even in a loss, he rushed for 378, 377 yards. Depends on what source you use. I think it's somewhere around there. And he had 6 touchdowns on 32 carries. This man was a living legend in high school. 3,398 yards total his senior year. 3,398 rushing yards in the southern section of CIF. There's nothing like it. There was nothing like it for a couple years. Shout out to Tyler Ebel and Lorenzo Booker out of Ventura. They went out there, and St. Bonaventure, they went out there and did their damn thing a couple years later. 4,000 yards rushing in each season. But I'm telling you, DeShaun Foster was the truth. And I just wonder if all these young men know who he is and know who's coaching you. Like, do you realize how great DeShaun Foster was? You look at this picture here. He's got his hands taped. I talked about it on Twitter. This man's got his fingers taped like he's getting ready to carry the rock. We used to do that to our arms, to our calves and our forearms, because we couldn't afford. Well, we used to do the tape on the fingers what's the word? You wanted to reinforce your fingers, but we would wear them on our forearms because we couldn't afford wristbands like all the rich kids. You taped it up, and then when you were on TV, you looked like you had on wristbands from a distance. It was just the thing you used to do. But DeShaun Foster was him. He was amazing. Obviously went to UCLA, obviously went to the NFL. Man, you don't get these opportunities like this to go back and be the CEO, the head coach of your organization, of your school. This is phenomenal. Shout out to him. Now he's got an uphill battle for UCLA and what he's trying to do, keep that roster intact. I know a lot of the players were excited about this hiring. A bunch of people reached out to me immediately once he got hired. But the players themselves, ecstatic about the hiring. They're telling me they're not jumping in the portal. They're not interested. More power to them. We don't give a shit about the 30-day window. Now, some guys might. Some guys might see themselves as being on the bench and it's time to bounce. But for the vast majority of them, I think they're staying put. Now, how do you get your results at the end of the day? That's your business. But what a great opportunity for DeShaun Foster. This also means a number of position coaches and graduate assistants and just these up-and-comers that have not gotten their big break, they're about to. This man's got a bunch of people on his team that want to play for him and want to coach with him. That's how it works when you finally get your big job, your big moment. You bring a bunch of people with you. Every head coach does that. So I'm just excited for UCLA football. I'm excited for their fan base because it could have been a hell of a lot worse. There weren't a lot of options. There weren't a lot of things opening up. But this also stops the coaching carousel. This stops the merry-go-round. We finally have a hiring from within someone's staff, and you didn't go and scalp somebody else. So we can stop stealing each other's coaches all offseason, and now we can just get back to football. I'd imagine, I talked about this on Twitter, UCLA is on the quarter system. They are not on semesters. I taught a bunch of experts on Twitter about this because they were like, well, what about at the end of the semester? They're not going to be able to transfer until June. No, they could transfer anytime they want because they're on a quarter system. They have to find other schools on a quarter system. So there was about 13 to 20 schools that UCLA players could transfer to if they wanted to play spring ball. So congratulations to them. I think they're going to stay intact, keep continuity on that team and that coaching staff. And DeShaun Foster, man, get your bag, bro. Do your greatness. I believe in you. Your friends don't know, but Rico knows. Peace, y'all.